Where do cells come from? Well, they come from other cells. Cells have to copy themselves. This is actually, here if I go back in time. Back a little bit further, back a little further, back a little further. Here's one cell. This is actually a fertilized egg cell. And then over time, it copies itself and splits and 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 copies. Of course, it takes a little while. But if you look at these cells right now, they're all about the same size, right? The same shape. Eventually, some of those cells are going to have to become brain cells. Some are going to have to become bone cells. Some are going to have to become nerve cells. Some are going to have to become intestinal cells. And so we call that differentiation. Isn't that cool? Get some different stuff. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about today. Where are the different types of cells?
All right. Hey now.
Mr. Kovacs class. It's Mr. Kovacs class.
You might learn a ton.
It's Mr. Kovacs class.
It's interesting too.
It's Mr. Kovacs class.
And he's super cool.
It's Mr. Kovacs class.
All right, so here's some human body cells, some of your cells. Let's see if we can see, they come in different sizes depending on what they do, I think. These cells, these are what we call neurons or nerve cells, and they are long and we call these dendrites and axons. They're long and dendritic, and they spread out like that because their job primarily is communication. So they're kind of skinny and long cells, okay? An adipocyte, this is called an adipocyte. This is a fat tissue cell. Right, there's its nucleus squished off. Its job is primarily for storage, so it's just big and round. Muscle cells are kind of like cylinders, and they're fairly big, and their job is just to get shorter or longer, shorter or longer, shorter or longer. What else we got here? Skin cells, which are usually they're usually flat because their job is just to stack on top of each other. And then we have, what do we got here? Oh, okay. So then these are some of your immune system cells, which are macrophages and megakaryocytes. Their job is to protect, to eat bacteria and viruses, particles that they find. Your red blood cells are really small cells compared to other cells. And of course, life begins in an egg. Egg is a pretty big cell. It's a single cell made by mom. And if it gets fertilized by a pretty small cell called a sperm, and it's able to grow and develop, you get a new person. Yay! That's a subject for another time. But don't worry, we'll get there. So cells come in different sizes for sure. All right, fans. So we know you get different types of cells. Here's the mind-blowing thing. Where did they come from? And it's this to me is totally mind-blowing. That's mind-blowing! So, before you're even born, you are one cell big. That was a combination of egg and sperm. And then that cell copied itself, divided, and copied itself and divided, and copied itself and divided. And then here you are. Well, somewhere along those lines, those cells decided to become different types of cells. We call that differentiation, but when a cell has the ability to become different types of cells, we call that cell a stem cell, right? It's like a stem of a plant, and then you got branches. So if you think about it, it's pretty amazing. If you start as one cell and every other cell is a copy of that one cell, that means every cell has the ability to be any other cell. That's mind-blowing! Whoa. Right? I mean, you got to work backwards. If you have nerve cells now, well, eventually they had to come from an original cell that wasn't a nerve cell, but knew how to be a nerve cell. Isn't that wild? So now this is where we are now as science, like in modern science. Imagine if you could take cells and tell them to be something that you need. And this is gonna sound weird, but let's say you have a heart attack. Remember John had a heart attack? He had some scarring on his heart. He lost heart muscle cells. Well, what if we could repair it by taking some stem cells, John's own cells, and telling them, you know what, grow into heart muscle cells, and then replacing the dead ones with new ones. Or a kid who has let's say has like a blood disease and needs more blood cells. Well, tell the stem cells become blood cells. This is where modern biological medicine is at, is working with stem cells, and pluripotent ones are ones that can become pretty much any cell. And so we're going to spend more time, obviously, in the year with how do cells know what to do. But what I want you to know right now is that every cell in your body knows how to be every cell in your body. Somewhere along the line, as you were growing up, some cells were told to become bone cells. Some cells decided, no, we'll be muscle cells. Some became skin cells. And that's a good thing. Anyway, mind's still blown. Whew. That's mind-blowing! Ah!